am coming to you with my latest podcast, The Sexy Senior Citizen. And welcome to The Sexy Senior Citizen. This is a podcast where aging is celebrated, confidence is contagious, and living your best life has no expiration date. I'm your host, Delcina West, the author of Sexy Senior Citizen: How to Stay Sleek, Sexy, and Strong as You Age. This is your space for empowerment and real talk about staying vibrant, stylish, and strong inside and out. From fitness and wellness to mindset and self care, we'll explore the secrets of aging with grace, confidence, and a whole lot of fun. Whether you're redefining your golden years or just getting started on your journey to feeling fabulous, you're in the right place. Let's embrace this chapter together because sexy has no age limit. Ready to shine? Let's get started. Well, guys, it's good to be here again today. I am going to be talking to you about something that many of us experience. It's the menopause belly. But before I get into the menopause belly, let me tell you a story about me. Now, I have just about, I think, every style of faja or spandex or corset to wear underneath clothing, right? Because not too long ago, as I went to put on one of my favorite dresses, it's a white um, pencil dress with sheared fabric around it, really sexy with spaghetti straps. And I went to put it on and I couldn't get it on by myself. So I decided I'm going to wear this white dress. It is super sexy, and this is what I want to wear tonight. I went and found myself one of those little corsets you put around your waist, right? And for one, I have problems with corsets because I have a very short waist. So if I'm going to wear a corset, I don't really plan on sitting down because it's going to stab me in the chest. So anyway, I got this corset and I had Steven have to come and lay me on the bed, push down on me, and then, snap the corset onto me. Once we got the corset snapped on, I put on the little white dress and I looked fantastic. I looked fabulous. Boobs were boobing, hanging out there looking cute. And we went on to this event. Well, after about 30 minutes of standing around, I realized I was having a hard time having a conversation. My chest was hurting. My stomach was tight. I was so freaking uncomfortable. I said, forget it. I went into the ladies' room, snapped that sucker off, put it in my purse, and said, the heck with it. I couldn't stay much longer because I was about to bust out of that dress. But that's when I started noticing that I was getting fatter, fuller, more square around my midsection. And I was working out and eating fairly well. I thought I was doing, all the right things. Well, I was doing the right things. But then I noticed that no matter what I was doing, my midsection just wasn't, I just didn't have a smaller waist. Now, I never had a small waist to begin with. Even when I was in high school, I think the smallest waist size I ever had was a 27. But at this time, my waist was going up to like a 34. While Steven, my husband's waist was like a 30. I was so embarrassed. I looked like a little chunk of spam or something like that. Anyway, I realized this was an effect of menopause and having what's called a menopause belly. You all have experienced it. You're doing everything. Like I said, you're exercising, you're trying to eat right, you're watching your weight, but you still get this crazy, unimaginable, uncomfortable, unsexy midsection explosion. And you're wondering what in the heck is going on. Well, a lot of it is called the menopause belly. And that is referred to that weight gain in the central part of your stomach that you can experience from perimenopause all the way through postmenopause. Now, it's not the end of the world, okay? Because I did get my waist down from a 34. It's not that much less. It's like maybe a 32. I still am kind of thick in the middle. Um, but it's not just from overeating or lack of exercise. Let me tell you what happens. What causes menopause belly? Well, as you know, when you're going through the menopause phase, your estrogen levels drop, right? They drop, and they fluctuate all over the place. And when those estrogen levels drop, your fat is redistributed. Most women, we have fat around our hips and thighs, right? And some of the buttocks. But now, with the drop in estrogen, which helps to control where your fat is deposited, a lot of it now is redistributed to your abdomen, to your sex, to your midsection. And so estrogen plays a role in where that fat is now being stored. And the thing about it too is you start seeing more of that storage where you actually can't see it in the midsection, but it's deeply saturated closer to your organs. And that can accumulate for a while without you ever really noticing it until you start feeling where you put your jeans on and it's a little snug, or you put on your pencil dress and you look like a little worm with a little tummy coming out of it. And you didn't have that before because your fat is now being redistributed. And it starts on the inside organs, which is a deep layer of fat, and then now moves on to the outside layer of fat, the subcutaneous part where you can pinch. That is your subcutaneous layer of fat. That's the fat on the outside that you can pinch. It's easier to get rid of that, but that deeper layer of fat, that is the fat that's been accumulating over a period of time if you haven't really done much, and that's called your visceral fat, and that's located closer to your organs. So that's been happening for a little while as you've been going through this perimenopause period, and you haven't really changed a lot of what you're doing. Now, the next thing that starts to happen is your metabolism starts to slow down. Now, the reason why your metabolism starts to slow down is not just because you're getting older, but what happens is as we get older, we start to lose muscle mass. Most women starting around the age of 35 or so can expect to lose a half a pound, maybe even up to a pound of muscle every year if you don't change anything. And as you decrease in the amount of muscle mass you have, you are losing that tissue that is active, that burns calories, that allows you to eat food, use it up for energy, and maintain a good, healthy weight and size. But you're losing muscle mass every year and you're not adding any. So that slows down your metabolism, right? So I'm going to tell you how you can change that. Then the next one is your insulin resistance. With age comes those hormonal changes, and your body may become more resistant to insulin, causing blood sugar to be stored as fat more easily than it used to before. And then, of course, the fourth one is your stress and cortisol level. As we're getting older, we seem to hang on to more stress. Midlife, we're dealing with, some of us are called that central generation, like I'm being called, helping to take care of our children and then taking care of your parents. Then you've got your job, then you've got your spouse, then you have all the societal stresses that come along for it. So when you are at an increased rate of stress, your body produces more cortisol, and that's a hormone that encourages fat storage around your midsection. All right. So you have four things that are contributing to that menopause belly. Because at this time of our lives, with perimenopause and postmenopause, we are having hormonal changes. You are losing more muscle mass, which is slowing your metabolism. You are more susceptible to insulin resistance, which insulin more readily stores fat in the midsection, and you have more stress, which increases cortisol, and that increase in cortisol stores fat more readily in the midsection. You're like, whoo, that's a lot of stuff. And there's a lot of stuff that's going on without you even realizing it. You're just going through your regular routine, and your midsection is getting bigger and bigger. Your belts are of no use. Your pants can't button up. And that cute little sexy dress you used to wear, now you look like you're halfway 6 months pregnant. Okay. So that's a lot going on without you even changing anything. So, what can you do about it, right? How can you get rid of that menopause belly? Well, since we identified the four main problems with it, let's go backwards and identify how we can help to resolve it. First, it's important to focus on strength training. Strength training through menopause is critical because I told you you're losing muscle mass every year. So how can you avoid that? Strength train. When you strength train, you are rebuilding more muscle mass. And you don't want to do it necessarily because it's going to make you look good, although it will, because strength training is actually what shapes the body, what makes it strong, what makes it shapely, and gives you more energy because you have more muscle and you can burn more calories, right? And so a strength training program doesn't have to be extended hour workout in the gym 5 days a week. You can do a simple workout 3 times a week, 15 to 30 minutes. Now, I can help you do that as a coach. Then the next thing you need to do is reduce your stress. One way to reduce your stress is to prioritize sleep. Sleep is so critical as we're getting older. You sleep less, you have the less opportunity to build up those hormones that help you to stay full and satiated throughout the day. You're increasing your cortisol levels by not getting enough sleep, and that creates this cyclone of feeling hungry all the time, not being satisfied, building up stress hormones, cortisol, making you fat, and it's just a vicious circle. So sleep is critical to help you to reduce that midsection belly fat. How can you improve your sleep? Well, there are several things that are out there that you know of already that can help reduce your sleep. Go to bed at the same time, wake up at the same time. Create a sleep environment that is dark, cold, and productive for sleep. Use earbuds if you have to. Use sound waves to help to moderate the noise around you. And continue to work on that until you can get good, solid, supposed to get 8 hours of sleep, right? But if you're not getting any, start with at least trying to get 6 hours of good sleep. And then you can start to add to that. And that will help to reduce your stress because you'll feel rested the next day. You'll be able to manage the things that come your way. And you'll be able to take control of your day with the decisions and the choices that you make when it comes to nutrition and staying active and physical activity, right? Then the next one is choosing anti inflammatory foods, high fiber foods. Those types of things will help you to have more better gut motility, help you to move through this food through your body, help you to feel full throughout the day, and help to bring in more antioxidant rich foods because foods that are high in fiber also tend to be high in antioxidants. So, what are we talking about? We're talking about berries, fruits, apples, dark green leafy vegetables, those kind of things. They are high fiber foods, carrots, etc., sweet potatoes that help you to have more antioxidants, less inflammation. Less inflammation is less pain. Less pain means better rest, less stress. It all rolls into each other. Then the next thing that you can do is hormone therapy. Now, as your hormones change, you can't get them back, but you can modularize or moderate them with external hormone therapy. Now, for that, you definitely need to go see a hormone specialist that can help you to identify bioidentical hormones that will help you to supplement what your body is losing. And there are some supplements outside of hormone therapy that can help you, but it's very individual and something that you really need to go deep down, dive in with your therapist or coach or nutritionist. I am. Okay, and so then the next thing is to get off the scale obsession. Now, I have a caveat. I get on my scale several times a week, but not to tell me how bad I am. I get on the scale several times a week because I'm watching my body fat decrease and I want to make sure that I'm not gaining anymore, especially if I've had a long extended weekend and I've overindulged too much. I want to make sure that I stay on an even keel. So as I lose weight, that's great, but it doesn't necessarily tell me the whole story. But as I'm tracking my body fat, I know that I'm maintaining my nutrition, I'm maintaining my level of physical activity, and I'm moving in the right direction. I'm not driving myself crazy with starving or being on a diet or trying to do an hour of cardio every day. No, because that's not sustainable. Not in this time in my life. Maybe back in my 30s or early 40s when I was bodybuilding and that's all I cared about. But now I have a lot more things that I care about, such as living life, dressing fancy, going out, having time with my husband. As a matter of fact, today I'm wearing a tulle skirt. Ta-da! Just because. But anyway, that's what life is about. You want to feel energized. You want to feel sexy. You want to feel in control of your body. And you can only do that if you start with the little things: sleep, exercise, physical activity, eating right. All right. These are critical in our menopause stages because we're losing those abilities naturally. And so now is the time to make a conscious effort to take care of yourself. That's what I think menopause kind of forces us to do. It forces you to either stop, pay attention, and redirect, pivot, or you're going to stop, just feel terrible about it, the oh my, the woe is me, and then continue on that downhill slope. Now, I don't want to continue on a downhill slope. I am here to help you move the needle in an upward direction so you can be sexy, sleek, and strong as you age. All right? So remember that menopause belly is not the end of the world. It's just nature. It's what happens biologically when our bodies start to change, but you can change it by making some adjustments. All right. Now, just for you, I actually have a program going on right now. It is a pilot program. Okay. I'm looking for 5 women who are 40 and over who are willing to go through an 8-week program for me at a drastically reduced price. Normally, it's $500 a month to coach with me one on one, but I want to try a group coaching session, and it's only going to be $197 for 8 weeks instead of just 4 weeks. 8 weeks for 197 for a group coaching program. And your commitment is to follow through on the program and allow me to use the notes as a study so that I can use that later on as I am working through creating better programs for you. Now, it's a limited time offer, and I'm not going to be holding it out too long. If you're interested, just send a DM in the link in the chat below, and I'll send you a link to the application. Not everyone qualifies, but if you do, I'll send you a link to the application, and you can find out whether you're qualified to be part of this pilot program. All right. So if you have more questions, you know how to reach me. I'm on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. Just look for my name, Delsina West, or you can go to my website at www.delsinawest.com. That's delsinawest.com. Your sexy senior citizen. Remember to come back here next Wednesday for your Sexy Senior Citizen podcast, where we will talk about all things that have to do with going through this phase and making it as fabulous as possible. Have a great day and talk to you later. Bye bye.